Hi, welcome back to Hot Topics Live podcast. If you don't know me by now, I'm Kia, and today we're going to talk about something that's probably going to change your relationship. I know that's a big, big claim, but let's talk about men versus women and how we both understand emotional intelligence. And this is key because this is so important to any relationship you have in your life, especially the romantic ones. So we're not going to just talk fluff, okay, or opinion. We're going to dive into science. So get your thinking caps on, strap in, get your notepad out, because we are going to change your life today. Okay. As always, Hot Topics Life podcast aims to help you live your best life possible because, well, you deserve it just because you were born. This is your reminder that you are enough and you are worthy. And now let's dive right into it. Oh, but before I do, you have to stay till the end. Remember, you guys, I'm looking at my analytics and I'm seeing that you're watching, but you're not subscribing. So please do your girl a favor and subscribe. Like, and definitely share this with someone who could benefit from this information because it might change your life and theirs as well. So I want to give a shout out to my sponsors, Mental Health Code. You can find them on Instagram, and also Eris Health. I'm not selling you anything. I am just giving you the information because they are amazing. So you can support Eris Health on Instagram and just go check it out, especially Mental Health Code, because they offer a lot of resources and tools and courses that can help you live your best life possible, right? And these days, we need all the support we can get with our mental health. So do not sleep on that. Well, enough about that. Let's move on. My guest today is pretty incredible. So you're going to be excited. I'm going to read his bio because it's big, you guys, and I don't want to mess it up. So, Chris Mattice. He has over 25 years of experience in health, fitness, franchising, and psychology based coaching. You know, I'm a coach, so you know I love, love, love to talk to coaches. Okay, it's my favorite. He has helped create and grow hundreds of online fitness, mindset, and nutrition businesses worldwide, blending performance strategy with human behavior and education to drive real world results. That's not it. Okay. Today, Chris also serves as a fractional chief marketing and advertising officer for Procera Health, a leading brain health supplement company, and Next Level Neuro, a neuroscience education platform. Ooh, you know I love neuroscience. Okay, so he is passionate about teaching professionals across healthcare, education, and therapy how to integrate applied neurology, brain-based tools, and mental health strategies into a new, more effective model of care. And who does not feel like we don't need more effective models of care, right? So I know you're dying to meet him, but remember, stay to the end if you want to receive my little gift for you. Yes, you. You have to watch to the end to get that. Let's bring him on, shall we? Hi.
Well, hello. Thanks for having me.
It's my pleasure. Welcome to Hot Topics Live podcast. I have about a million questions. And by the way, if you're watching live, I know you're shy. I'm going to say this every episode. You can ask questions. You can leave comments. You can get involved in this podcast if you're watching live. And if you're not watching live, you can drop your comments and questions in the comments below. And I always answer my comments. So it might take some time, but I do it. I don't get tons of them, so it's easy. anyway, the point is get involved, be engaged, and that's how you'll integrate this knowledge. So, Chris, tell me, how in the world did you end up on this path?
You know, it's a great path. I wasn't planning on ending up this way. So I was like, a lot of younger people coming into the fitness world before the internet was prevalent, and that's how old I am. And with the education platform and personal training, etc., I love fitness, but I really moved into this area of wanting to integrate health, doctors, physical therapists. And then that kind of led me after that venture to meet two of my closest friends today, Brian Grasso and Carrie Campbell, who are psychologists and counselors. And at that point in my life, like we all go through a dark time, they happened to be there at my dark night of the soul, so to speak, moment. And the first words Carrie ever told me was, it's not about listening to you, Chris, vent, because you need to have that happen. But she goes, my job is to take care of you and reinvent you. And that was a really big pivotal moment for myself, because I had just left a huge co-op I built with physical therapy, doctors, and personal training. And one of my big problems with that industry, and it is for everyone personally, in any coaching platform that they get into, is you're always trying to solve the same problem for your whole life, right? How people in the fitness industry, they're always trying to help people lose weight. But the question becomes, if every year you're trying to lose the same amount of weight, is it the weight you're trying to lose, or is it the reasons why you're 30 pounds overweight? And when they told me that changes the entire health paradigm for everything we've done, because we're always looking for tactics and strategies to lose 30 pounds when no one ever said, well, why are we 30 pounds overweight? Well, someone would say, well, it's because you're eating the apple, not the donut. But Keel, I would ask you, what's healthier, the apple or the donut? Everyone knows the answer. Mm-hmm. And the key to mental health, change psychology, therapy, financial coaches, whoever's coaching people to change that thing they need help with, they're doing it all wrong. And if you look at the neurology and science of how we learn, whether it's behavior change, emotional change, weight loss, it's all the same. And when I met Brian and Carrie, they introduced me to their two best friends, matter of fact, who are functional neurologists. And they took some of my athletic career injuries that I haven't been able to fix in 25 years of being in the industry. And they helped me in 30 minutes by not fixing my body, by turning my brain on. And so when I met all these people, I just saw the foundational aspect of where health was going to go and what needed to happen. So I offered to help these two people build the online business to teach neurology, or applied neurology is what we call it. And then that led me to looking at the therapy industry and saying, well, therapy is missing a huge piece, not just therapy, but there needs to be this piece, and we can talk about how your brain learns and how that happens. And it just helped me build my own practice because I love doing it. But then that helped me go into the business aspects of these companies and kind of merge them all together. And it's a very new way to look at this next generation's health movement, but it's happening. And as anything new in the world, people are scared of the word neurology, brain, etc. But it's so simple. And the fact is, we're already doing it. We just don't know it. But we have to eliminate the limits that hold us back, not look for new tactics and strategies to fix something that doesn't need fixed. We just need to change the story.
That's incredible. I feel like I could do a whole podcast on that topic, and I feel like we should.
Yeah.
So I know that you saw about the episode I did with my friend Fawad, who we did a whole episode on why men aren't dating. And we had a wonderful conversation that was, I think, not what a lot of people were expecting. I think they were expecting more of that like red pill content. Yeah. And I am not that girl. I am the girl who's more about how can we bridge the gap? How can we stop this division? The largest percentage of my audience is men for some reason. So I like to create content more geared to them, although I do have women that watch too. And so I think it's important information to share, like non-toxic information on how to build and retain relationships. Because let's face it, there's a loneliness epidemic out there. Women are, being cat ladies. Like, it's just, this decision to not be together to me is very strange.
Yeah.
And so I am out here doing the thing that's different and trying to sort of shed some light on why we should be working
Mhm.
together. And when you mentioned that you had lots of information on especially emotional intelligence and how it's different men versus women,
Mhm.
I wanted to dive into that.
Yeah.
And understanding your background and everything that you've done in your life, I think helps me and helps the viewer, listener understand more
Mhm.
what your experience and expertise is.
Yeah.
So I want to dive into that. Right?
Yeah.
I want to, like, what about um, the difference between men and women and their understanding of emotional intelligence um, made you feel like it was important to
Mhm.
share?
Yeah. So I'm going to ask a question to you, but you don't have to answer it. I'm going to answer it, but I'm going to ask it to you.
Okay.
So if, as a single man, okay, with 3 kids and being single for a long time, and if we look at attachment styles, and are we familiar with attachment styles?
Yeah.
It's a hot topic right now, right? So
Yes.
most men are brought up as avoidant. It is a gender specific, unfortunate thing in life that a lot of men are done that. I was brought up with a dad who grew up in a Spanish family, and there was no emotion. There was no sadness, there's no crying, there's no excitement, right? It's a neutral life. Knowing that about myself and then learning about emotional intelligence and what it means, and then becoming single, then looking at dating platforms and all these bios that say, I want a man that has emotional intelligence, and they want XYZ. And then having gone through the process of reacclimating my own neurology from avoidant to try to move to secure, to understand what avoidant meant, and then getting into this world of singlehood and men and trying to meet women, and you become more open and more vulnerable, or able to express yourself. Let's use that word, express yourself. The question I would have for females in that aspect is, we want that. Females want a man that has emotional intelligence. But my question to that is, if men grew up learning to be avoidant, and females grew up knowing that men have been learned up to be avoidant, they've been preconditioned to handle men that are avoidant, mostly. So do the females have the skills to handle an emotionally open, intelligent man? I'm not saying it's right or wrong at all. I'm just posing the question, because I would tell you from experience that it actually backfires. Not because it's right or wrong, it's because they don't have the experience to articulate and handle the conversation. There's been no experience with it, right? We grew up in a household where if my dad was that way, avoidant, I only knew how to handle that interaction. But then I asked the question, what would emotional intelligence mean to the female? And I've asked so many in this world that I live in. I asked this question, and their answer is pretty spot on. But like all things, when we try to make changes in our life, we go from point A to point Z. Like, we have this huge emotional swing when we try to make changes. And really, it lives in the gray with people, especially men. But then you talk to men and you say, you need to work on yourself. The only word they hear is, I got to talk about my feelings. That is completely BS. It's not. I would actually sell therapy to men as, we're not going to talk about your feelings. That disarms the alarm in a male's brain for therapy, for mindset reconnection, for all the things that we want. And now what happens is you start to reintegrate the masculine piece with the feminine piece inside them, because we all have them. Carl Jung calls them the animus and anima. But what happens is, because of how we've been brought up, we sway one way or the other. And then you look at the red pill community and all the changes, it's always swinging one way. So we have to really start having the conversation is, what does emotional intelligence mean to females? And men, what does that mean to you? And the way I describe it, have you ever seen the Amazon show Reacher? It's brand new. It's with Alan Richardson. Okay,
I haven't seen it, but I know what it is.
Okay, yeah. His persona, and this is what Hollywood portrays in the hero's journey of every story. They make a man in the story very unemotional. The hero, right? The guy that has a lot of trauma and he's got to be he beats everyone up. And then he meets the girl. And then they bring it where there's those moments they talk and he opens up. And he talks to her. And then he goes and he becomes a void and he makes all the hero stuff. What people, I think, are asking females is, when I sit and I'm expressing myself to you in the moment, I need you to sit and listen. And then I need you to respond accordingly in the conversation. What men haven't been taught is to say, I feel sad. I feel hurt. The reality is, that's more masculine than keeping it in. You're just avoiding emotional intelligence because you're insecure about showing your feelings, which is actually insecurity, which is actually not being masculine. Being masculine is sitting in the courage to say, I don't like how I feel in this moment. Can we have a conversation that doesn't have an explosion of emotion? Can we just sit and talk about it? Because I care about you and you care about me. And so when I get to that emotional intelligence piece with men, I always ask them, you need to develop the self-awareness to understand how you feel. It's just saying, I feel sad. It's just as easy as saying, I feel alone. But men don't want to do that. They compartmentalize that because they've grown up that way. And if I have a trauma, we use the word trauma, though it's a strong word in this effect, but everyone has stuff they're carrying. Every single person on earth are carrying something. And it's the truth. If we can sit alone and hear our subconscious thoughts, then the next question is, what are my subconscious thoughts? It's a great question. Sit alone on the couch and have nothing going on. Don't read, don't have your phone. Whatever you're thinking is your subconscious thoughts. It's a crazy way to look at it, but it's that simple. Like, do I feel alone? Do I feel sad? Like, name an emotion. And now once you can start naming an emotion, you can start working through the ability to become emotionally available. It's so much easier than we're trying to make it out to be. But I'll tell you this, Kia, from a man's perspective in the single world, females there's a huge female dynamic of the same thing.
I would agree. I would agree with that.
Dynamic that way.
When you were speaking, I was thinking about the fact that there are a lot of women. So I grew up on the East Coast. I grew up in Philadelphia. And I would say that there are a lot of women there who are avoidant, like just in dealings with women that I know and everything like that. And then I now live on the West Coast and I live by Portland, Oregon, right?
Okay.
And there's a lot of difference in how women are, where I find a lot of women here are more anxiously attached.
Wow.
And so then you have that other dynamic. So if I have met some men that are anxiously attached, but I will say, or fearful or whatever, but I will say, like you said, most men are avoidant, or some form of it, maybe like a fearful avoidant, I guess.
Yep.
And that's how you're raised. Okay. Which is, I'm raising sons. So it's very important work to have them understand their emotions and be able to name them. So I will say that has been like important work for me as a mother. And I also know that in the generations before mine, it was not something that was taught. But here in the West Coast, a lot of women are anxiously attached do teach their children about these things, especially
Mm-hmm.
men, and at least in my generation and below. And in addition, are looking for men who, I think all women would really like a man who is emotionally intelligent in theory,
Mm-hmm.
but can they handle it? I think it depends. I think some women can, and women who are avoidant cannot.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And so, because I will tell you straightforwardly, I know that some women will be like, this guy is always in his feelings. He's trying to, like, he's too sensitive, all sorts of things along that line. Some of them
Mm-hmm.
not so nice.
Yep.
And the guy's a great guy. Like, to me, I'm thinking, well, you know what? He seems great. Like, I am a sucker for it. I tell my friends all the time, I don't know. It's like a drug. And the guy starts talking to me about his feelings. I'm all in. Like, I don't know what it is. And so,
Mm-hmm.
but I really wish that more men were um, less afraid of being vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
And listening to you, actually, I want to question that statement I just said,
Uh-huh.
because I'm not sure if it's as much afraid, because I do think there is a safety issue with there, is like, how is this woman going to react? But I also think it's, do they know how? Because they've been programmed to not, they've been modeled not to their entire lives.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, they feel like it's hard when it
Mm-hmm.
really is as simple as saying, getting in touch with you, how you're feeling. And sometimes, like, you'll feel, you think you're angry, right? And you're like, I'm
Mm-hmm.
so mad, but you're not mad. You're hurt,
Mm-hmm.
or you're
Yeah.
sad, or
Yep.
you're, something else. So being able to, like, get in touch with the true emotion
Mm-hmm.
and just naming it, I think is such a beautiful, easy method to, like, start
Mm-hmm.
that journey.
Yeah. What I like to, when we go through this process with females and males, it's the one thing we teach is, we call it bound nature, and bound nature is all the negative traits that we could associate with something. So if you and I are dating and you say something and I have a reaction to it, that emotion is a story from the past. I have an ego, a separate person that has become that person who is dealing with that emotion. Okay. When you deal with multiple personality disorder, the psychologists actually teach those patients to name that person. Okay. Now they don't call it ego. They name the person because they become a different person. The reason is because it brings it up in your brain can deal with it faster. So what we do is, if you and I are in an argument, I get angry at something you do, if you're avoidant. Okay. Well, first, that's a trigger, something that I see in myself that you're doing, which is a weird concept. But if I get angry, it becomes angry art. So I can disassociate that from myself. Then it's shameful Sam, right? I feel shame, but people don't even realize the impact that shame has in their negative dissent. Shame is like the worst feeling people have. Okay. If I feel guilty, if I feel guilty. Okay. But what we do with people is, when we start naming them, I'll say, okay, what ego came first? And you'll say, oh no, I get angry first, always. Okay. Angry art is the first dwarf of, like, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. I always relate that, because if they're all egos that are following her, okay, think about it, they're all egos, right? And okay, so angry art. Okay, what after angry? What did you feel after that? Oh, I got angry, but after I stopped talking to him, I felt guilty. Awesome. Guilty Gil's next. So what you're seeing are the pattern of the neural connections in our brain have emotional steps that we go through. So it's angry to guilty to overprotective to, we start naming them. And then you get to a point where you stop naming them and you think that's it. Then as you become, this is self-awareness now, right? Because now I'm understanding my emotional capacity. Now, once I get deeper into my self-awareness, I'll be sitting there, I'll be like, holy mackerel. I just talked to my dad and he did the same thing I just did. Now you're starting to connect your childhood with your egos. And now all the stuff in your subconscious is coming forward, whether you're male or female in this aspect, to learn and understand. It's just emotion built to protect the child in the past. And this is where Carl Jung talks about the shadow. The shadow just comes up to protect ourselves from the very thing we weren't allowed to do in childhood, or we had to protect to be safe. And now once we can start connecting the dots, we can start emotionally opening up. Now, when I say it's easy to, it's easier than we think. Your brain learns in 4 stages, okay? And the way I like to explain this to people is I say, if you ask someone to promise to do something never again, you are setting them up for failure right away, because you can't take an unconscious action or behavior and change it right away. Your brain goes through 4 stages of learning, okay? You don't know what you don't know. Then when someone points it out, then you know it, but you don't have the tools to fix it, okay? That's like if you were out on the beach and it's all foggy and you don't know which way to go north, and you look at the lighthouse for direction, okay? That's where the coach comes in and starts giving you the tools to learn emotional regulation, self-awareness, whatever. Then what happens is, okay, now you're consciously competent. Now I have to think about it every day and apply those skills to everything I do. Then what happens is at some point, you become unconsciously competent. Your subconscious brain runs and it changes. That's behavior change. You can't go from A to B or to D right away. You have to go through the process. And this is the thing with coaching and learning about emotional intelligence and becoming a better male and talking about my feelings and knowing the appropriate way to do it is you have to work on yourself. But it doesn't just come with talking to a therapist. It comes with putting the work in every day to unlayer the language that you have, understand why you say it, how do I flip it, looking at all the good things that I am as a person, though we call that gratitude. I look at it a little differently, because talking about yourself and finding the good things every day changes the gray matter of your brain instantly. All right. Now, as you can do that and you start failing, you start finding out where you're going to fail and you start getting better at it. And the way we teach it is, let's say you and I are in the car and we're going to go out to the end of the street and we're going to turn right. I go out to the end of the street, I turn right, and this guy cuts me off. And I start screaming at him at the top of my lungs. And you turn to me and say, Chris, there's a much better way to handle that. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. Shoot that. Next day, you and I get in the car. We go out to the street. We're going to turn right again. The guy cuts me off. I start screaming at him. And after I stop screaming at him, I look at you and say, Kia, I could have handled that better. And you're like, you're right. You could have. The next day, you and I get out in the car. We go out to the end of the street. We turn right. The guy cuts us off. I start screaming, but I stop mid-sentence. And you look at me and said, you did it. And I said, I know I did. It wasn't perfect, but I did it. That's the 3rd stage. The last stage, you and I go out into the car. I go out to the end of the street. I'm going to turn right. The guy cuts us off again. And I feel it inside, but I don't say a word. That's how we become unconsciously competent. That's a simple way. But in therapy, nutrition, whatever, we think we can make these grandiose changes right away. Emotional intelligence and understanding ourselves and how to communicate, it's a learn, fail, learn, fail, learn, fail process. And you have to be guided the right way if you look at how neuroplasticity works in your brain through neuroscience to make that work. And, men get real frustrated when they want to learn about feelings, because they'll say, hey, I tried to open up to her and it just, I fell apart, or she didn't like how I said it. I'm like, it's okay. What did you learn? What egos came up? Who was talking to you? Like, how does that relate to something in the past? Like, we can talk about it. But we got onto this topic about you don't need to talk about your feelings to become emotionally intelligent. You just got to know what they are. And you got to learn how to see them in that self-awareness piece. It's cliche now, but it's true. But people have to learn the real scientific mechanics of how to do that. And I think if we take it one step further, the world we live in now, the political landscape, the stress, the economy, all that stress sits in our brain on a daily basis, and what we call our threat level is super high in our brain. So if your brain's number one job is to protect us from the Tyrannosaurus Rex, like running away. But in today's world, all the stress that we live in fills up a bucket. So we look at the brain as a bucket. If the bucket fills over with water, we die. So your brain says, well, I can't overflow, so I'm going to put a spout on the side, and all the spill out is all the things that I don't like. It's physiological problems, tightness, joint pain, all the physical diseases we get. All that stuff is a stress-related response. Applied neurology comes in and helps you decrease the threat level in your brain so you can handle everyday stress. It helps you move better, feel better, helps your metabolism better. Okay, now if I've learned to do that and I feel better, well, now I can do therapy better. Now I can do the work and feel not overwhelmed. I don't feel stressed out. I can learn to self-regulate. And self-regulation is emotional intelligence. We've never been taught all this stuff. And if it's been reinforced for many of us in this era of our life, it's scary to want to learn it because you're asked to do something you've never been told to do.
Okay, so why is it worth it to do this work?
It's a great question. I would ask everyone, in a simple way, what are the goals you want in life? Is it to be lonely and cranky? That's okay, if that's what you want. If you want clarity and direction in your life, if you want a life that's fulfilling and you're doing the things that you love and want to do, and you can have the tools to emotionally regulate and help you through the highs and the lows, this work is needed for everyone. You know, having lots of money isn't the answer to happiness. I know lots of really wealthy people that aren't happy at all. I know people who are super poor and aren't happy. So what's the answer? The answer is, as they always say, is you got to be happy internally as opposed to looking for external validation to make myself happy. But what is internal validation? It's the same thing as understanding how I feel. Internal validation is finding the ability to understand that being alone is okay. I haven't abandoned. Someone's not going to leave me. Like all of these things that we could associate with childhood and how we're grown up are the same things that make us unhappy as an adult. And we have to ask ourselves, what do I want as an adult? I'll tell you, a lot of people who have money don't care. They think they're fine, but they're not because they don't have the ability to take the accountability, say, I'm not happy. Like I'm buying all these things because I'm actually not happy. Like we don't see it that way. So what do you want to do with your life? Like, what do you want to achieve? Do you want to find a person for you? Okay. Now let's talk about what are the things that hold you back and how can we change one of those things? How can we start the process of being able to handle failure and move forward? If losing weight is going to make you happy, I would say that's not true. I'd say, if you lose weight, what can you do that's going to make you happy? Right? If a guy gets out of bed and he can't see his feet in the morning, he's not upset because he can't see his feet. He might be upset because his wife doesn't want to have sex with him anymore. Or he doesn't feel sexually attracted anymore to himself. Right? Like this is the peeling onion piece. Like it's so many layers deep, just get to the bottom. And then let's work on that and know that it's going to go all different directions before you ever get there. And it's not going to happen in 6 weeks or 8 weeks like all the programs in the world are sold. It's going to happen when it happens. So, one of the things when I work with people, I tell them like, listen, I need a year minimum because it's going to take time because I don't know when it's going to happen. And if it happened before, it never has, by the way. Everyone who works and does work like this, they understand it's forever because you're growing. You learn the tools to fire me and you can do it yourself. How beautiful is that? Right. Think about that. Think about like, I know therapists, like they have businesses. It's predicated on people coming back and talking about the very stuff that they've been talking about for the last 3 years ad nauseum. How are we helping them? Like like if you look at the numbers, personal training, nutrition, therapy, the success rate's under 7%. Like that's scary. It's really scary.
It is. And I think a lot of it has a very negative, people have a negative perception. It has a bad rep, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think, and this is one of the reasons why I like therapy. I go, I enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I always say that hire a coach for
Mm-hmm.
whatever you need or want in life. Like, get a coach because it's a different thing altogether. If
Mm-hmm.
you don't want to go to therapy, okay, that's fine. Get a coach as an alternative that can help you, like you said, learn
Mm-hmm.
the tools. Because I always say, once you have the tools in your toolbox, then you can come back to those when
Mm-hmm.
things come up. Because I love what you said, and I commented, it's a journey. There's no destination here. It's a journey.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think when we're looking at sort of emotional intelligence, men versus women, and men maybe not having the tools to connect to their emotions and being able to express them, and women thinking that they want that, but not always wanting that,
Mm-hmm.
um, is kind of a barrier and could be a reason why relationships are failing or and do fail. So I guess my question would be, how do we address that?
There needs to be people out there addressing it in a global manner on social media first. Okay. I think the tough part in addressing something like this is the coaching industry itself fundamentally is flawed in this perspective. Okay. And I opened with this a little bit. We have the tools and strategies to help someone as a coach in that genre I'm coaching. Okay. But what that says is, I'm the coach. I have the story of this, and this is how I did it. These tools work for me. They should work for you. It doesn't work that way. Okay. So when I look at emotional intelligence for males and females, and I want to try to help bridge the gap for both of them to have, for men and females to start communicating, I think especially men need to have coaches who can sit there and help them navigate their own story, but how to get them across the barrier to the new story in a way that your brain learns. And this will be my last science piece to this, and I promise I'll tear it in. When you learn something, your actions, habits, and behaviors are built on the perception you carry of yourself, which is based on your belief system, which forms your actions, habits, and behaviors. All coaches try to change habits. But if you look at that sentence, the perception I have of myself builds my belief system, which forms my actions, habits, and behaviors. Look at the three things before it that form my habits. That perception I have of myself is built from my familial system, from media, from my peers, from experiences, good and bad. That story are what we call neural tags in our brain. Okay? They are formed. We weren't born with them. We form them in our brain. So when essentially the person I think I am today, I'm not. I am an experienced, influenced person of nurture. Okay? There's nature involved, don't get me wrong, but nurture. If I want to help people change, I have to help them see that. And I have to build. So if I have a neural tag that's my negative perception of how I self, I don't have emotional capacity. I have to build another neural tag next to it. And if I build another neural tag next to it, I have to reinforce this neural tag every single day, because the one that I'm living with, I've had thousands and millions and zillions of reps to form it. It's like a muscle. Okay, like this is your professional bodybuilder. Then I get this new neural tag, and it's like a skinny little twerp. But the beauty of your brain is it attaches to this old neural tag, the new perception. If I don't have repetitious nature, this neural tag will lose its strength, because this neural tag will tag back and it'll overcome. Just think of someone who has been an alcoholic and is now not an alcoholic, goes into the bar and has one drink. Well, the new neural tag becomes super weak. Then tags never disappear. So I have to have the skills as a coach to teach men and females how to build this new neural tag in a repetitious manner without any traumatic experience. The only way I would say, or I could tell you that trauma helps someone change their life, is usually like a male who's really overweight and has a heart attack or something, like changes their life. They're not overeating. They're not doing all those things anymore. Well, that trauma changed their lifestyle and they became another person. But most of us don't have that trauma that we deal with every day. We don't see it that way. So we have to repetitiously every day work on those. And as a coaching industry, we need to learn and facilitate that in our people, especially when it comes to emotional regulation and being able to express ourselves without swinging the pendulum all the way to the other side, and finding the happy little medium and learning it over and over again. It's not a one-stop fix, as I know people want in our world. They want the magic pill. But I think if, as a conglomerate, as an industry, if we start learning these type of things now, and they are coming out, I think coaches will get much better across the industry, and there'll be better male coaches helping males and female coaches helping men facilitate how to express themselves in a masculine way that they feel comfortable with. It's not easy that way. But I think once someone gets involved in it and they start communicating back and forth with the person they're with, I think it changes the relationships dynamics a lot. Like, some people do really well with the change. Some people are like, that's not who I married, right? Like it can become really difficult because the person starts becoming someone that they've spent a lifetime with, that's not them anymore. And maybe that's maybe they shouldn't be together anymore. Who knows? But it is a difficult topic. And I think one now that, like you said, the red pill industry versus people who try to do it the right way versus people say, that's never happening. And the people that are never happening, they're just scared of change. And more importantly, this is the nervous system science piece. When people start to try to change, your feelings are held in your body, right? Versus your brain. So when you make change, your nervous system's saying, this is uncomfortable, even though it's good. So after a little bit of time, that threat bucket fills up, even though you're trying to do good things, and it overspills. So what happens? Your feelings come back and says, I don't like this. I want to feel comfortable. So we're going to go back and live the other way because I've lived a lifetime that way and I feel really good. Even though it's not good for me, I feel comfortable. But we both know that's not right. I have to learn how to handle that gray area and get uncomfortable with this new persona. And once if you have someone that can say, this is actually really positive, who says that? You're uncomfortable. That's a really great thing. Let's stay there. It's going to happen, but it will change. A lot of people, when they make changes and they change their persona, they go through another dark night of the soul, another depressive area, because they're mourning the person they used to be, but they don't see it that way. You need someone to help you present that out. And that's where the beauty of very well done coaching can really help people through that piece as they start maturing. And it can happen at any point. You don't know when. You just need to have experienced coaches who can help you do that. And that really needs to be this next generation. As neuroscience is now become more popular, and how the brain learns, and you have coaches out there who are teaching coaches how to do this correctly, and it becomes more accepted just as physical therapy is, and physical therapy starts integrating more with neuroscience, and as a society we now accept it, we'll get there. But it's, as everything we do, it's just so slow. For years with people in white lab coach and PhDs, and now it's out to the masses and people are teaching it, and it's starting to move, and it will start. It's big changes coming in the mental health and in physical health and nutrition. Like, we are understanding the brain more than we ever have. It's just that it's not out there like everything else is out there. It's like when gluten came out and everyone became gluten-free, and the paleo diet. Like, it came out, and the people that brought it out are the people now that are learning applied neurology and neuroscience and the right way to coach. Those frontline people are the very ones who brought out all that stuff. And those people are now learning. And I think as we see this coming out more and more people writing about it, getting on podcasts, speaking about it, and the word gets out, the general population will start asking for it from their healthcare professionals, from their physical therapists, from their mental health people. And they're going to start saying to the mental health people, why aren't I changing? I've been here for 3 years. And now the industry, the coaching industry at large, has to raise their own standard. Like, I don't look at the people and blame them. I look at the coaching industry and say, we need to raise our standard and become better, because what we've done doesn't work. And I'm okay taking the brunt of that, because someone needs to stand to do that. And it needs to happen, because what is out there right now is not working. And we are the most technologically advanced civilization ever, the richest, but we're the most fat, depressed, overstressed, overstimulated, pharmaceutically dependent society we've ever been. How is that? It should be the complete opposite. And now that we've let brain science come out, that stuff's really going to start to change. And I think once people like you have taken this role of teaching society and getting this information out, people are going to start demanding it. And I think that change, when it happens, when we make that final change, that flip, watch how fast it changes, because people won't expect not to change anymore.
I think it's so beautiful, because if we can rewire our brains to become happier, or we'll say more fulfilled, healthier, just more successful, and we can use neuroscience to sort of like hack that journey and make it easier and more efficient for ourselves, then that's what we must do. Like, it has to do. You have to do it regardless of whether it's about career or relationships or whatever issue at hand that you are experiencing. There is a use of neuroscience that can help you get there even faster, I think. And I think that's the exciting thing for me, is to understand it, knowing this and learning about it and using it can really just make us live our best lives possible. And that's, I think, what we all want to be doing, and which is also why this podcast exists.
Exactly. It's, we always thought that as we got older and our brains got older, that was it.
Yeah.
The crazy part is, your brain is the one organ in your body that can stay healthy and change as fast as you can snap your fingers, as long as you know how to do that. And it deals with your eyes, your inner ear, and your feet. And because those are the three things that present stimulus input into your brain to make it turn on to do the things we need it to do. But because we sit all day, because we don't move, all that brain science, your brain starts shutting down, but you can turn it right back on. And we've taught everything in health below the neck, but no one asks. Like, I teach it as your body is a car. Okay. So for years in the health industries, we've always looked at, okay, let's change the spark plugs. The right tire's flat. Let's change the tire. We got to put gas in it. Yeah. Well, who's driving the car into a wall? No one put the driver in the car, which is your brain. Your brain is the derivative, and it drives everything. It's the governing center of all of our functions in our body. So like our knee pain, our back pain, it is your body saying, hey, something's up, pay attention. If you start there, it is incredible what simple things you can do to make you move better, feel better, increase your metabolism, have better mental health because of the connection between your lingual nerves and your cranial nerves and your brainstem. And like all of those things are all connected and they're so easy to do. It's not, you don't need to go in an MRI tube. It's just move your eyes and ears and get them to function. It's having those right people in our life, teaching it. People are going to have massive change in their lives now. And we'll be talking about why are we such a healthier society than we were, and why did it take so long to come out?
I want to see that.
Yeah.
I want to experience that change in society. I think it would be amazing. This is such an interesting topic. I can hardly believe we've been almost talking for an hour. You know, I think it's so incredible that we can rewire our brain so quickly. And we don't know it. Like, I love what you said about, you know, your body being the car and your brain is the driver. I don't think I've ever thought of it that way. And I also love the idea that my brain can be youthful. Even though I'm getting older. Yep. But I also believe that the brain is a very, very powerful thing, right? And so I actually believe that you can use it to help you age backwards, right?
Yeah.
And so in conjunction with mobility training and staying healthy, and, you know, proper, you know, taking care of yourself, I think your brain is probably the most important factor in staying youthful and you know, aging beautifully inside and out. So you have worked in health and fitness, and now you work in neuroscience. And this may not be exactly about relationships you might think, but I promise I'm going to tie it in. Okay. So how can we, knowing your expertise, how can we use our brain to help us to be quickly healthier and more fit with more stamina?
Great question. Okay. Decreasing stress or threat, okay, in our brain will make you feel better. You'll have better mobility, all the above, okay? Because we look at stress as an input coming in. But stress can be eustress, which is too much exercise. It can be the bad email I get or text at the end of my day that ruined a great day. It can be family stress. It can be my mortgage went up. Anything that decreases threat or stress in your brain changes the whole dynamical landscape of your body. Mental health, relationships, because you feel better. That is the beauty of applied neurology. And that's why when I teach fitness professionals, I teach mental health, if this is the standard of the start, therapy works way better because they feel better. But when you look at fitness and I decrease threat first, they're not tight, right? Tightness is a function of an overactive nervous system, which is your nervous system is attached to stress. So my mobility increases just by that. So all the stretching we do, all the mobility drills, theoretically, you're doing it so you're not tight anymore, but we're always tight. But when you decrease the threat and stress with neuroscience and applied neurology, you actually open up completely and it stays. You know, like we go to physical therapy. Okay, I'm going to pair mental health with this because your brain doesn't disassociate from mental pain to physical pain. It's pain. So think about it. People who have extreme emotional distress, they feel like they hurt. It's true because your brain can't tell if I got punched in the face or someone screamed at me and hate me. Like it's the same. So for both, the applied neurology and the neuroscience that's being applied now in today's world with those that can do it are changing people's lives on both areas. So if they feel better and they're happier, their bodies feels better, because pain, associated joint pain, is going to make you feel bad because you have stress. Like all of it is the same place. It all starts with your brain. And that, as crazy as that sounds, is because we have never taught it that way. Like every foundational personal training, nutrition, therapeutic model should start teaching the brain first on a basic level. And the basics are all that's needed. The whole 80-20 rule, if you teach 20% of applied neurology, the basics, simple stuff, how the brain feeds, why sleep is a brain cleaner. It's not sleep, it cleans your brain. Why my vision and my hearing are intricately applied to my brain health, my mental health, and my physical health. 80% of the population becomes that much healthier just by the mere basics. And it's not brain science. It's not rocket science. It's simple stuff. Simple.
I love that it's simple, because we need it to be simple, because that's how more people will accept it and be able to use it and to receive the benefits of it. 100%. And I promised to tie it all in to relationships. And the reason I ask that is because when we are feeling stressed, it impacts our relationships
100%.
And how we show up and how we communicate and how we express our emotions. So
yes,
I think that this is such an important tool, because and also the other thing that it impacts in relationships is intimacy, because I feel like if your relationships are struggling, it has to do with all of those things. So if we have these tools that we can use, then we can also improve our relationships. Maybe we will see less divorce. Maybe we can see more people coming together in longer term relationships, because they're disappearing, really. Long-term relationships.
Yes.
Like, you don't see people, it's like so rare to see people married longer than 20 years anymore. Yes. So I think this is so important for us as a society, because unlike, other people who are on these platforms talking about, I mean, I love feminism and everything, don't get me wrong, but I think there's a point where it almost becomes like hatred towards men. And then, then there's like this misogyny that is really control and hatred towards women. And so if we can just stop that and kill all that noise, right? We can get back to what really matters, and that is working as a team to make the world a better place, because we're both here. So, and we're meant to, whatever your belief system is, we're meant to be working together. That's why we have masculine and feminine energy within each of us, and together we are masculine and feminine. Those energies are supposed to be united, not divided.
I would even go to say, in the partnership, when people are stressed and one isn't stressed, a female would take more of a masculine role in that position to help the man who's struggling, right? And
she
vice
should.
versa. Yes, but that's a balanced piece of a relationship. But a man, like we've talked about, needs to be able to express, hey, I had a horrible day today. I had to let someone go. I need a few moments. And she could say, fine, I'll take care of everything, right? Like that expression of just communication is emotional intelligence. It's saying, I'm not perfect right now. It's okay. As opposed to saying it, leave me alone, right? It's a subtle exchange that allows a male and a female to take on the role of male or female within the relationship to be more balanced for each other.
And this is exactly what my point was in my episode with Fawad about, why men are not dating. And it came up during that conversation. And what I said was pretty much the same thing. It's that right now there's a massive movement for women to reconnect to their femininity, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
But we should not be afraid of owning our masculine energy as well, because it's there for a reason. And a
Mm-hmm.
perfect example is what you just said. Okay. And also, we should not be afraid of a man who can go into his feminine energy and be soft with you, because I think secretly, and maybe not so secretly, that's what women want. Okay, maybe not all the time, but
Mm-hmm.
they do want that sometimes. And I
Mm-hmm.
think with some women being avoidant, it gives men this, or toxic, because women can be
Mm-hmm.
toxic and abusive as well. And then these lovely men who get with these type of women, um, they then come away like sort of jaded and angry and hate women, because they had a woman who was unable to show up in a healthy way in that relationship and really did a number on him, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes, and I see this in my comments, you know who you are, you will attribute that to all women.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that's not you. I will never say all men are bad. Okay. I will say there are many who are wounded and have
Right.
not done the work
Mm-hmm.
to heal. I'm dating too. Like, so I've been doing this series called Dating After Divorce for like a
Mm-hmm.
year. I think it's been a year. I think so. And so I've been out here like doing the thing and having these experiences because I never really dated before. I was always like engaged or married or in a long-term
Mm-hmm.
relationship. So it's been quite a learning experience. And I've been sharing this journey with everybody who wants to come on it with me or who is on it with me. And that is the number one thing that I learned. And that is the number one thing, is that
Mm-hmm.
there are a lot of really wonderful men, but they are very wounded and or have been raised to be avoidant and do not know how to become securely attached,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
and and women as well, a lot of them are very anxious, and then they get into the avoidant anxious
Mm-hmm.
trap with these
Mm-hmm.
guys. They don't know how to become secure too, because that relationship dynamic, if no one's doing the work, usually ends up in toxicity or breakup, but can work if you do the work,
Do the
right?
work. Yeah.
And so I think that these are like really important topics. And with women being taught, be feminine, be feminine, be feminine. No, I disagree. Like, and I don't want to be made to feel bad, because I'm capable, because I can run a household and a
Mm-hmm.
business and like take care of everything. I like that about myself. I'm a woman of the 90s, honey. They told
Yeah.
us, they said girls rule the world. They
Mm-hmm.
said you can do it all. They said don't be too shy to ask out a guy. Go get that boy you want. Like, they said all of these things
Mm-hmm.
to us in the 90s. You go to work, you can take care of the home, you can do it all. So I am a woman who grew up with that programming, and I don't want to feel like I'm less than of a woman because I can handle stuff. But I also know that it can be really toxic, because I have also been stuck in that place where I
Mm-hmm.
have not been able to connect to my softer
Yeah.
side. And this dating experience has really helped me with that, number one. And number two, I feel like it's such a beautiful thing when two people can move between those sides of themselves in a way that helps their relationship. Not everyone is going to be 100% every day. Some days I'm going to have 20 and maybe you have 80, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you're holding it down,
Yep.
right, and offering
Mm-hmm.
me support. But some days you're not, and I should. Or maybe it's 70-30 or 60-40,
Mm-hmm.
but whatever that is, as a team, as a unit, like, we have to be able to work together and not shame or guilt or, you know, mistreat one another because we're not in that place.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
also have the skills to communicate and be open about our emotions,
Yeah.
right? And learning about this emotional
Yeah.
intelligence, how to receive it as a woman and be
Oh,
okay
that's
with it if
big.
you
That's
can't.
big. The receiving is from what you just said, especially from the male side, to learn to receive it in a healthy way was a big thing for me. And to
Mhm.
receive what is the female giving you in a beautiful feministic way, whether that's strength or the traditional feministic piece. Like, how am I receiving that? Am I receiving it in a negative way because I didn't know how to receive it, which is generally what happens. They don't know how to handle it. Or am I receiving it because I've had toxicity in my life and I think because I was burned in the past, you're going to burn me again. So now I'm going to run away. Like, that's that anxious avoidant attachment piece too. So like, when we learn that self-awareness piece of yourself, when you can see yourself better through your own language, your self-awareness, etc., you see everyone else way better than they see themselves. And that really allows you to sit in the energy of two people when they are not them best selves and say, it's okay. This is her stuff that she's carried. I have my stuff that I'm carrying, but I can receive it because I know it's just a moment. And I think being able to go through your own process and unpackage your own stuff makes your relationship with the other person so much better, because you don't become reactive. And I think that when we talk about the anxious avoidant piece, which is its whole topic in itself, that is like the number uno thing between the two. Having been in that myself quite a few times, you can still be a secure person with an avoidant and try to work through it, but they'll still make you anxious because we don't realize the slow emotional abuse pieces on both ends that slowly creep in, and it changes your brain. And we don't even realize that that's happening. Yeah. And once you get out of it, we say heal. What's actually happening is the neuroplasticity, your brain's regenerating itself from the traumatic toxicity, right? Like, it's subtle. Those relationships are so subtle in the changes. And when you add narcissism to it, the brain's impact is so exponentially different and changes so slowly. By the time you're fully immersed, it's too late. Your brain has done all the things it needed to do to survive. That's why people don't leave. But self-awareness and education and courage and bravery and friends and coaching, the support systems are needed to literally help people out, because their brains don't want to leave it because it's comfort now. They've learned to live in that type of space, and that's scary in itself. But it's reality. But I think now, with where the education is online and people looking into this, and just so for your viewers, avoidant people won't be listening for education. Most of them, a small percentage. Most of the people that are looking for education are your anxious people, because they want to solve the problem immediately because they know there's a problem. Avoidants don't think there's a problem. Narcissism doesn't think there's a problem. It's the people who have a high propensity for trauma, in depression, all of those things. Those are more anxious people with PTSD, all of those type of areas. Their brains are more susceptible to these than anyone. That's why these people are looking for it. But they're also the ones that'll do the work. And we really need to find a way to communicate with this other side. I happened to was in a profession and had friends that were in it, and I was just blessed as an avoidant. I was literally blessed that I had people that were the same, and they pointed it out. They said, you're not broken. You can help yourself. And they showed me how to do it. And I think that when you can find people like that to come into your life and you can pass that on, there's no greater gift to give people, is to show them that they are not broken, that they will be better. And the fact that they've gone through it, they are such a much better person, even going through the hardest parts of their life. And I think those people are super blessed to be able to come out of that and pass, because they'll pass it on. Because they want to. And I think that's a gift that you're giving everyone yourself by bringing these conversations up, because they are desperately needed across the board.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm really sad that we have to end this
I
one.
know. I know.
But it's time for me to wrap it up.
All
I
right.
think it was exceptional. And I really want to thank you so much for being a guest on Hot Topics Live podcast. I am really hoping that you will come back.
Oh,
And
certainly.
before I let you go,
Mhm.
will you tell us how we can connect with you, where we can find you, how we can book a discovery call or whatever you
Yeah,
offer
sure.
with you?
Sure. We'll just use my Instagram handle at Chris Mattice07, and you guys can reach me through there. I do everything behind the scenes, so I don't put myself stuff out there publicly because it's a lot of the people I work with. But you can reach me on Instagram. Okay.
Outstanding. Well, slide into his DMs and gets you some help.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
And I want to thank you so much for being a guest. If you would like to wait in the green room, I'll meet you there in a few
Okay.
minutes as I wrap up the show.
Sure.
And then we'll say a proper goodbye.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Ooh, that was a good one, you guys. I hope you really got a lot of value out of it, that you really, really liked it, because it had so much good information. Oh, wait till I clip this up and put it on Instagram. It is going to be very popping because it's going to help so many people. And now I have a new thing, a new rabbit hole to dive down, which will be applied neurology. So I'm also grateful for that because it sounds fun and interesting and something that could also go into my toolbox to help me, maybe even help other people. So, if you made it to this part of the show, what time it is, it's time for your special, special gift. And so what we're going to do, if you don't know by now, is take a deep breath. And you can put your hand on your heart. I like to do that. Just take a deep breath for me. And I want you to focus on your higher power, whatever that is. Is it source? Is it the universe? Is it God, Buddha, Allah? I don't know. There's tons of them. But whatever yours is, your higher self, I don't know. But I want you to focus on that energy because it's all energy anyway. And I want you to breathe. And what I have here in my hand, we're going to do a little cards. They're called Soul Truth Self-Awareness Cards by Brianne Hovey. And I'm going to get a message for you that can help you on your journey before we part ways today. So what I'm doing now is I'm just going to shuffle up the cards. Most of you know this. And then one is going to fly out. So I'm not picking anything. It's just random. And that's going to be your message. Okay. I hope you enjoy this. And it gives you guidance on your path. So let's do it. Let's see what comes up for you today. Remember, if you like pretty pictures and you like vintage style, but all class, sorry, you can check out my pinup on my personal Instagram at Creativity. I'll put it up in a minute. But I just got into I think it's the 8th magazine, my 8th publication. And I'm super excited about it. And I'm about to submit pictures to another one. And I have another photo shoot coming up next month. So there's lots more beautiful, beautiful content coming. And your message for today. Oh, you got 2. How funny. Oh my gosh, there's 3 of them here. But I'm not going to read them all. Let's see. I'll read the titles. Let's see. Let's do this one. What are the dominant emotions that run my life? That's a good one. Okay. How do you fill your day? Stress or joy? Trust or anger? Anxiety or peace? We have only today, right now, the journey. No goal, no destination will bring us the feeling we seek. But when we begin filling every day with that which we value most, we will attract more of it. This is fulfillment. Today's soul action: lean into what you want to feel and adjust your life, your values, and your expectations to match your desires. What do you want to feel? Are you willing to let go of the belief that you have to achieve something to feel it? Ooh, that's good. The next one is, what am I afraid of losing? I'll give you the mantra. I move forward knowing I am powerful beyond measure. I am loved, I am safe, and I belong. By the way, I'm not going to read all of these to save time, but if you would like to know what these cards say, you can slide into my DMs on Instagram at Hot Topics Live Podcast, and I will get back to you with a picture of the card. The last one is, do I believe I am worthy? You are worthy, but you need to believe it. You are worthy, you are deserving, and you are loved. Today's soul action: for a big goal or dream you have, ask yourself, do I feel worthy of this? And your mantra is, I am worthy of all of it. And yes, you are, honey. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Remember, check out my pinup. I'm in the new issue of Chocolate Cheesecake Pinups. This is the Rockabilly Barbie. She's amazing. I love her. She's really awesome. And I have a couple of covers. The links to those are in my Instagram. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. Hit up my sponsors' Instagrams as well. And if you want to follow me on more places, hold on, I'm going to show you. Here you go. I'm at all of these places. So you can follow me, support my content, support my other podcast, the Female Veterans Podcast. And I will be back really soon. I don't know when. I'm going to do another Dating After Divorce episode, I think, really shortly, because of the comments on my last dating episode with my friend Fawad. If you haven't seen them, go into the playlists. They're there. Share them, like them, watch the whole episode. Come on, give me some view time. Okay, give me view time. All right. Your likes also matter. They're free. It's a free way to help your girl out. So consider it a donation. Hit the like button and the bell so that you can set your notifications, because I don't ever really know when I'm coming live. So if you want to catch me live and be a part of the conversation, ask questions, all of that stuff, you don't have to be so shy. I don't know why you guys are shy. Get involved, engage. And anyways, I love you guys. Thanks for watching. I'll talk to you